Hello everyone, today we are framing a floor and insulating for an 8x8 lean-to modern shed. These modern sheds are becoming more popular by the day, and I believe that an 8x8 is the perfect size for any homeowner or DIYer. The shed is going to be built on top of 4x4 pressure treated skids. The main purpose of the skids is to give an ability to move the shed later on. If you are certain that your shed will never move, you can do away with the skids. I'm installing camo blocks underneath the skids 12 inches from the end. This will help keep the skids away from the ground. And at this point, it is very important that your 4x4 skids are perfectly level across. This will include either digging up or bringing in some dirt. Just make sure you take your time trying to level both of these camo blocks. And once you have one of the skids leveled, you can work on the next one. The end goal is obviously to have a level working surface. And when you are working on the second skid, make sure that they stay parallel and 6 feet away from the first one. But sometimes it is difficult to get them level across. That's because you may have a bigger slope than you anticipated. What I recommend is either you dig and you move the material, or you add a small piece of block underneath the structure to bring it up. And at this point, you want to go ahead and throw a couple brackets on both sides. I don't have brackets with me now, so I'm going to continue framing this. But before we wrap up, I'm going to throw the brackets and show you guys how to do it. It's time to bring over the lumber so we can start framing the floor. In this build, I'm installing a 2x4 underneath the outside rim joist. This is an alternative if you don't want to spend the money on metal hangers. Then you can install the rim joist onto the joist. It makes it easier if you have a second set of hands. But if you don't have the help, you can use blocking or anything that will keep the rim joist in place. I'll be using a cordless framing gun and framing nails throughout the project. If you don't have a framing gun, you can do this with 3-inch framing screws and the drill. I use 3 nails on the end of each floor joist. And before we continue framing, we need to square up the floor box. And we do that by measuring corner to corner. What we're looking for is an equal distance between both of them. With the floor leveled and squared, it's time to install the joists. We're going to be installing the joist in this shed every 16 inches. For us to have an 8x8 shed, the floor joist needs to be cut at 7 feet 9 inches. And if you have them cut ahead of time, this goes much easier. And remember, for floor joist, I use 3 nails on each side. And here's something you don't see often on homemade sheds, are these strengthening boards on both ends. And the purpose for these is that if you ever need to move a shed moving company have a place to grab and drag the shed around. If you don't plan to move your shed at all, you don't necessarily need these. And we understand that not everyone is interested on building a shed themselves. And if you're one of those, I'm gonna help you by connecting you with a local shed dealer or builder in your area. Just check the description below or this QR code right here on the screen, and that's gonna get you started. And then if you did use the skids like I did, you do have to toe nail them to the floor. So don't forget to throw a couple nails on each side of the joists. And at this point, I went to the hardware store and picked up the brackets. I recommend installing them before you lay down the floor. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult getting underneath the shed so you can install the brackets. And before you put away the nail gun, we do need to add cleats on the inside of the joist. This is gonna help hold up the insulation. As far as insulation, I'm using a 2-inch thick foam board. Personally, for this project, I chose a foam board. A 2-inch foam board provides an R value of 10. That's equivalent to a 2x4 wall fully insulated. And the best thing about these foam boards is that it's moisture resistant. And a shed floor being so close to the ground is going to be exposed to a lot of moisture. The good thing about them is that they can be easily cut. I use a circular saw just to get a nice straight line, but you can use a knife or saw if you prefer. And I know that planning and building a shed is a lot of work. And that's why I created a design guide and a free material list for this very shed. That's gonna help you get started. If you wanna check that out, there's a link in the description. And also, if you're watching this on your TV, there's a QR code for you right here. And to fully prevent moisture getting underneath the subfloor, I recommend installing seam tape all around the insulation. And now we're ready to install the subflooring. There's various options for flooring. Some people will use regular plywood, some will use pressure treated plywood, others just plain OSB. I recommend using a 3/4 inch tongue and groove OSB subflooring. And now that we have the floor ready for our new shed, it's time to frame the walls. If you want to check that out next, there's a video for you right here. If you want to check out everything from beginning to end, the whole process, I'll leave a video for you right here. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.